Let's head out to the Plains. Hugh Freeze and his staff have been all gas, no breaks, all off-season long on the recruiting trail. And this weekend, they took a big swing at a massive flip target. That's right. 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis, the USC commitment, was in town. Let's bring on Steve Wiltfong. Steve, the whip around's here. Let's start with Julian Lewis. What are you hearing? How did it go with Auburn?
Well, folks that spent time with Julian Lewis at Auburn feel like they're in great position to ultimately flip the 5-star quarterback from USC. And we continue to view them the biggest challenger to the Trojans at this point in the process. He's still going to take his official visit to Colorado next weekend. Could take this recruitment into the fall and hit some games, get back to Indiana, certainly get back to Auburn, maybe get back out to USC, but watch his finalists play as he continues to work through the process. But I had a chance to talk to Julian Lewis's dad, TC Lewis, early Monday morning. It was a fantastic visit. From the moment that Julian got on campus, they could feel the community and how huge it was for them. He walks into a store, takes like 8 pictures. He posts on Instagram his photos from the visit. It already has over 1,000 comments, just Auburn Nation rallying around Julian Lewis. And they could feel from Hugh Freeze and his staff that he's kind of the missing piece to what they're trying to do to turn this program back into a national title contender. It was a top 10 class last year. They're in the top 10 right now. Eric Winters is the new jewel of the class. The top 4 players in the class, including coveted defensive lineman Malik Autry, per the On3 industry, are on the defensive side of the ball. The way they recruited receiver last year really stands out to Julian Lewis and his family. So they love the recruiting efforts of Auburn. And one thing that his dad said to me that stuck out, if Julian Lewis were to flip to Auburn, there's already a bunch of recruits behind the scenes that have reached out and said, hey, if you go to Auburn, I could end up at Auburn with you. They called it an SEC program hungry to win. We know that Hugh Freeze took that job to return Auburn to the mountaintop. Julian Lewis is the guy that they could see doing that. The opportunity to compete for starting time right away with Peyton Thorne leaving is something else that they pointed to. So Auburn's got a lot going for him here. Obviously, with Julian Lewis being a 5-star recruit, they're having their NIL discussions with all these finalists as well. But TC Lewis doubled down, or double down is not the right word, but reminded and emphasized this morning that, look, that is not going to be the deciding factor. Things that have Auburn going for them regarding the deciding factor, the way they're recruiting on both sides of the ball, the chance to win big, the chance to be part of something special and restoring Auburn to glory. Those are all things that are exciting. And then again, just the way the community rallied around Julian, and it doesn't hurt, out of all 4 schools that he's looking at here down the stretch, closest to home.
I got a couple questions with that answer. So coming out of that USC visit, I felt really confident that Julian Lewis was leaning towards sticking towards to USC. Now, coming out of this visit, are you buying that Auburn has made their way back into it and become a serious threat to flip him?
Well, while there have been times where we've thought that Julian Lewis was for sure gonna flip at some point, and while there's been times where we have thought that he could ultimately still sign with USC, I think that we've always left the door open that he could end up elsewhere, and Auburn is that school we're looking closest at. Now, with USC, I think that the Lewis family knows long-term what that means if he wins the starting job. First choice in the NFL draft, Heisman Trophy, just a great relationship with Lincoln Riley. His offense, his starting quarterback stays healthy year in and year out, plays every game. They're going to recruit great players around him offensively. But there's some question marks. What if Miller Moss has a great year? When does Julian Lewis get on the field? Does USC hang on to this terrific defensive class? Guys like Justice Terry, Isaiah Gibson, Hilton Stubbs, those guys are all soft commits, in my opinion, right now, as they continue to look at schools more closer in proximity. So lots of love coming out of that USC visit. But now he was at Auburn this past weekend, and there's some good buzz, some good vibes about Auburn's position. And this is his 4th time at least at Auburn this calendar year that we know about. Took a couple visits in the spring, saw them practice, led his Carrollton High team to a 7v7 championship at Auburn's camp last week. Now he was there for the official visit this weekend, and them just getting to see the support of the community, a chance to really sit down with the staff. And then the players on the team, they also are already embracing Julian Lewis, telling them this is the move. The guys in the locker room recruiting Julian and saying, we want you to come here and help us take this program to the next level. You're the guy to help us do that. Meant a lot to him. And so Auburn is definitely a team to watch moving forward. They always have been. I don't know why I said definitely a team to watch moving forward. We've been watching them. Keep an eye on them.
And then this weekend, we got Colorado visit coming up. You kind of sound like you're discounting the Buffs a little bit, because prior to this, we thought that, hey, if anybody could flip them, maybe it's going to be Colorado, because we thought Auburn was kind of on the outside looking in. This weekend, Colorado is going to be able to make a big pitch at Julian Lewis. Do you think the Buffs are still in this thing?
I'm not discounting the Buffs. At the On3 Elite Series, that was the team he kind of pointed to as perhaps the biggest challenger with his comments. The stage of Colorado, the eyeballs that are on that program because of Deion Sanders, the opportunity to grow your brand there because of that is exciting. Knowing that Shedeur Sanders is leaving, a chance to step in and start right away is also exciting. They like what they've seen from Coach Shermer so far in that offense, watching them practice, conversations he's had with them. And this is Deion Sanders and company's guy. He's had some big recruiting wins every year, going back to Travis Hunter at Jackson State, Jordan Seaton obviously last year, Cormani McClain, even though he's in the portal and back at Florida in the moment, that was a big recruiting win. So we know what they're capable of on the trail. So who's going to be that big recruiting win for them this cycle? I'm not predicting it's Julian Lewis, but I'm not going to cross them off the list and say he's not coming there right now. He's excited about Colorado for all the reasons I listed. They know it's going to be a good official visit, but I still think Julian Lewis is going to watch some teams play in the fall. So if Colorado comes out smoking hot, Coach Shermer's offense looks like the way they're describing it behind the scenes, maybe. But right now he's committed to USC, but Auburn has definitely got some juice in this recruitment. And so we'll see what happens this weekend and beyond.
All right. Now, Eric Winters, the On300 safety, committed over the weekend. You got any other good news for Auburn fans?
Yeah, I was one of a few that put in an RPM prediction in favor of Auburn for coveted edge rusher Herbert Scroggins out of Savannah Benedictine School. Again, Julian Lewis and his family pointed to the way Auburn's recruiting on defense. They got Eric Winters. They got guys like Malik Autry in the fold. Caleb Falk, Tyler Lockert, our top 150 recruits per the On3 industry committed to Auburn. Herbert Scroggins would be another big pickup. They got to get through Miami, where he's visiting this coming weekend. But so far, so good for Auburn right now.